Hey guys, how are you doing today? So today is the June wrap up. Yeah. Let's see how many books I read in June. Alright guys, so I was able to read 7 books in June. And let's start with, how about A Coffee House Mystery series by Cleo Coyle. Oh my gosh, these were absolutely fantastic. I'm pretty sure I rated them 4 out of 5 or even 5 out of 5 on Goodreads. I loved the characters. I loved the history of coffee making throughout the series. The mysteries were amazing. Like, I couldn't figure out the whodunit before Cleo told me whodunit, which is really, really rare since I love cozy mysteries so much and I've read so many mysteries. It's really, really hard for me not to figure out who the suspect is and who actually done it. And she was able to fool me not once, but twice. So this series is based on the coffee house, the vintage blend. Claire is the one who runs the vintage blend. She gets sort of put in these moments where she has to figure out who's killing these people. In the first one, the accident happens to her assistant manager, and she wants to figure out, why did she fall down the stairs? Was it an accident? Or was it something that was pre-planned? It was really, really awesome. I did not know who did it after that. And then in the second one, a whole bunch of Claire's customers are being murdered. And the only thing they have in common that the police officers can figure out so far is that they all go to the vintage blend. And so she is trying to figure out who is committing these crimes and why are they committing these crimes. And so I actually really, really, really loved this series. It was fantastic. The next book that I read, I'll put it right here, was Lumberjanes. It's a comic book series. I actually let my sister borrow it, so I don't have it right now. And it was a wonderful read. It was actually my very first review on YouTube, so I'll link that down below if you want to see it. And I loved the characters, the how everybody is so strong and powerful, and how friendship is the main theme, how everyone needs a friend and how everyone is strong. And I mean, they're hilarious. There's so many quirks to the characters, and if you want to see a full review, then you should go check out that video. The next book that I read was Don't Look Down by Jennifer Crusie and Bob Mayer, and I was actually extremely disappointed in this book. I hauled it a couple of weeks ago, and actually I should have a video coming up, a full review on this book. The protagonist, Lucy, just wasn't as strong as I'm used to Jennifer Crusie's female characters being. She was very weak and dependent on JT, the other main character. It was very, very frustrating to me. This is probably one of my most disappointed books this whole year. I was super upset about it. The 5th book that I read was Provosts Plus by Piers Anthony. It was actually my book club book of the month. I started a book club at the beginning of this year, and this is our 5th book that we've read so far this year, and it was actually fantastic. It was amazing. It was basically Space Dentist. I loved this book so much. It's a very short read. I think it's only like 118 pages or something along those lines, but it was wonderful. I loved the characters. I loved the adventure. I loved the fact that there wasn't really a romance in it, that it was just a good, fun read, which sometimes you just need those every now and then. No heartstrings being pulled, no drama, no romance, nothing like that. It's just good old-fashioned fun to read. And the 6th and 7th book that I read were A Bake Shop Mystery by Ellie Alexander And I read Meet Your Baker and A Batter of Life and Death, which if you've been following my channel, I have a weakness for punny titles, and I can't help it. They're just fantastic, and I love them. So she lives in a town called Ashland, Oregon, and she has come back to sort of start her life over with her mom and help her with the bakery. She had a bad breakup, and she was actually a culinary artist on a ship. Well, she needed to come home and sort of gather her wits, and she decided to help her mom in the bakery in their hometown. And all sorts of shenanigans start happening. In the first book, one of the Tort's customers ends up dead, and it's right during the Shakespeare Festival, and she has to figure out what happened. Is the shop to blame? And then the second book is A Batter of Life and Death. It says, in autumn in Ashland, Oregon, 'tis the season for a spiced hot apple cider with a serving or two of the Tort's famous peach cobbler. It is also the perfect time for Jules Capshaw to promote her family's beloved bake shop by competing in the Pastry Channel's reality show Take the Cake. The prize is $25,000, but as Jules quickly learns, some people would kill for that kind of dough. Dough? Literally. Then, just as Jules dusts off her Bavarian chocolate cake recipe and cinches up her apron, the corpse of a fellow contestant is discovered. Death by buttercream. What began as a fun, tasteful televised adventure has morphed into something of a true crime detective show for Jules and everyone else on the set. Who could have killed Chef Marco, and why? Can Jules sift out the killer before someone else gets burned? Sift, like, sift, and then burned, like cake gets burned. Okay, I know. Just, enough, Courtney, enough. So, I read a total of 7 books this June. Not too bad, not too shabby. What were your favorite books that you read this month? You should comment down below what your favorite was. Have you read any of these books that I read this month? And if you have, what did you think about them? What are your favorite parts of the books? So that's the end of this chapter of Courtagonist. I hope you found this video useful, entertaining, and that you learned something new about an author or a genre that you've never tried before. And until next time, guys, happy reading. Bye!